Good morning from Monrovia. This is Trokon Freeman with news tonight. 45 minutes of all of the latest developments making news in Liberia, Africa, and elsewhere in the world. Today is Monday, the 9th day of July 2018. And our top stories this morning: to stabilize the country's unpressured economy, House Speaker Dr. Buffer Chambers succors for single currency regime wants the legalization of the United States dollars as Liberia's legal tender, while blasting former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for Liberia's nightmare. The former governor of the United Party accuses government of masterminding Associate Justice Janen's impeachment plot, says the ruling establishment wants him removed because of dissenting opinions in the elections dispute, a case involving NEC and few political parties. Mayor Jefferson Kollie brings Simenko a total embarrassment of Liberia's waste and sanitation sector, says it is unfortunate for the company to renege in addressing sanitation problems in its own backyard. And away from Liberia, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has begun a visit to Eritrea days after the two countries agree to end two-decade-old border disputes. The details of these developments and other interesting stories that are packaged in this presentation of the program. Stay with us for the rest of the time. Thanks for joining the program. Let's now join Augustine and Bill Kollie to break you the news. Bulletin. Augustine, good morning.
Good morning, Trokon. Good morning, everyone. House Speaker Dr. Buffer Chambers has termed as lasting solution the legalization of the United States dollars as Liberia's legal tender. Speaker Chambers' assertions come in the wake of a challenged economic sector that is experiencing an unprecedented rise in the Liberian to United States dollars exchange rate and hike in the prices of local commodities. At a news conference during the weekend in Monrovia, Speaker Chambers added that the legalization of the United States dollars as Liberia's currency could further control the economic situation. The speaker recounted Liberia's introduction of the US dollars currency in the late 1980s, thus stabilizing the country's economy. Speaker Chambers also blasted former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for Liberia's nightmare. According to him, the former Liberian leader created an economic gold block. He defined a gold lock as a system where labor camps were created and maintained in the former Soviet Union between 1930 to 1935, which subsequently led to extreme hardship and death of the regime challenger. The Liberian speaker has revealed that former President Sirleaf did not declare her assets up to present. He challenged those claiming that the ex-Liberian president declared her assets to make public supporting document. The Unity Party said it is seriously troubled by calls emanating from within the ruling coalition for democratic change for the impeachment and subsequent removal of Associate Justice Cabinet Janet. At a news conference in Monrovia during the weekend, Representative Akaris Gray of Bonsarado County revealed that he was leading the campaign for the impeachment of the Associate Justice. The Unity Party in a release said Gray did not give or suggest any reason, but who rather vigorously informed journalists that the call for the impeachment is based on integrity issue. Article 71 of the 1986 Constitution states clearly that the Chief Justice, Associate Justices, and judges of subordinate courts may be removed upon impeachment and conviction by the legislature based on proved misconduct, gross breach of duty, inability to perform the functions of their office, or conviction in a court of law for treason, bribery, or other infamous crimes. The former governing party said Justice Janet has not fallen foul of any of the above provisions. The UP indicated that there are several factors underlying this call for impeachment from the representative that would severely undermine Liberia's democracy. They mentioned that its intelligence has uncovered the uneasy fact that President George Weah and Vice President Joe Howard Taylor are beyond this call for impeachment and subsequent removal of Justice Janet. The release on the signature of the party spokesman Mo Ali ascertained that if this impeachment and removal plot were to ever be done, it would put the entire Supreme Court bench at the mercy of the executive and would mean a total collapse of the democracy, as the independence of the judiciary will be compromised. The release furthered that the court is made because Associate Justice Kabina Janet was the only one on the Supreme Court bench that voted for the nullification of the October 10, 2017 presidential election. It can be recalled that the Liberty Party and the Unity Party filed a case with the Supreme Court asking for the nullification of the October 10, 2017 presidential election on allegation of massive frauds and violations of the election laws by the National Elections Commission. Monrovia City Mayor Jefferson Kollie has branded Semenco as a total embarrassment to the country's waste and sanitation sector. Speaking during the weekend at a vigorous cleanup exercise carried out by the We Are for Clean City Presidential Task Force, Mayor Kollie said it was unfortunate for a company like Semenco that is generating millions of dollars to renege in addressing sanitation problems in their vicinity and adjacent communities. Mayor Kollie, who is also the chairman of the We Are for Clean City Presidential Task Force, stressed that the task force will not hesitate to take drastic actions against institutions that attempt to undermine the effort of the city government in making Monrovia a clean and green city. A reporter who toured the vicinity of Semenco, along with the youthful mayor, observed a huge pile of dirt stored in the company's drainage line that is leading to nearby communities, thus creating health hazard for the people. The mayor has meanwhile called on Liberians to take charge of developmental initiatives in the country, noting that a collective effort is required to make Monrovia a clean and green city. The National Task Force, which was established by President Weah to address the problem of garbage in Monrovia and Painesville, Saturday removed several makeshift structures along the Somalia Drive Road, with Mayor Kollie taking the lead. The officer in charge of education, training and information at the Independent National Commission on Human Rights has taken exception to the Ministry of Education's decision to deny students who failed WATS from graduating. Recently, Education Minister Ansu Sonin told a news conference that any student failing the exams would not be allowed to graduate from high school. John in White believes that the Ministry of Education's action against the students of Liberia is partial and it's not in the rightful direction. He added that mass failure in WAS should also be attributed to the Ministry's failure to monitor and evaluate schools that are operating with no library and qualified teachers. According to him, a holistic approach is needed to address the country's massive educational sector, while emphasizing that it is wrong to punish a particular group of people for problems that cannot be solved in a short space of time. Assistant Justice Minister for Corrections and Rehabilitation Eddie Twawali is seeking more corrective programs for prisoners around the country. Minister Twawali, who has been keen on reintegration of prisoners, paraded with 16 inmates from the Monrovia Central Prison to support the Monrovia City Corporation's We Are for Clean City campaign. And this is meant to provide community services. Speaking to a group of journalists during the weekend, Twawali stressed that there be programs including tailoring and carpentry for the transformation of inmates so that they can be useful in society upon completion of their jail terms. Meanwhile, Monrovia City Mayor Jefferson Kollie extended appreciation to the inmates who were brought out to help with the cleanup exercise. The mayor warned the inmates to exhibit good morals while serving their prison sentence. A member of the Liberian legislature has donated a huge consignment of medical equipment to 4 health facilities operating in his district. The medical supplies donated by Representative Hanson Kazulu is estimated at $16,000 United States dollars. Making the presentation during the weekend, Representative Kazulu said the move comes out of humanitarian feelings for his people given the challenges in the health sector of the country. The Montserrat District 17 lawmaker added that the exercise was in fulfillment of his promise made during its campaign period. The lawmaker said the donation was possible through a lobby from a friend in the United States who is a medical practitioner. Representative Kazulu also disclosed that a bigger donation of drugs and other medical supplies worth $25,000 United States dollars was shortly arrived in the country. According to him, the second consignment will be distributed to other rural communities of the district to meet the medical needs of his constituents. Receiving the items on behalf of the 4 clinics, the officer in charge of the Banjo Clinic, Christiana Jipley, extolled the lawmaker for the donation, saying the intervention will help boost their operations to ensure health care delivery. Montserrat County District 2 Representative Jimin Smith has renewed calls for the legislature to grant the Monrovia Vocational Training Center an autonomous status. Representative Smith complained of the entity being unilaterally run by the Ministry of Youth and Sports, thus lacking independence. According to him, grants and other subsidies are being channeled through the Ministry of Youth and Sports before allotments are made for the institution. He added that the allotments are not sufficient for the upkeep of the institution in realizing productivity. The Montserrat District 2 representative revealed the low enrollment of young people into the institution as witnessed during its recent graduation. Representative Smith maintained that upon the institution's foundation, a total of 5,000 students were targeted for a cycle. He revealed that during the MVTC past graduation, only 2,000 students graduated from the program. The lawmaker noted that the program, on every phase, is geared towards empowering less fortunate youths through career development for sustainability. The executive director of the President Young Professional Program, HZZ, has asked members of the 2018 Class 8 to use their knowledge acquired and helps empower the proper agenda of government. ZZ stressed that fellows of the PYPP should also endeavor to demonstrate a deep sense of patriotism and in their contribution to the state. Speaking during the weekend at the induction and it mentored supervisor orientation dinner for 22 members of Class 8, Mr. Zeze further thanked the We Atil administration for the support towards the program, while at the same time calling for more budgetary allotment in the national envelope. According to him, financial support is a major challenge affecting the program, noting that there are plans to exert the Presidential Young Professional Program to other counties in the country. Speaking earlier, Secretary General of the Alumni Association of the President Young Professional Program, Togar Tapper, pointed out that the program fellows are like diamonds whose values are significant to the forward march of any institution. General Auditing Commission has lauded the United Nations Development Programme for its continual support to the work of the Commission. The UNDP, according to a GSA release, immensely contributed to the successful hosting of the Commission's first Stakeholders Audit Forum. Roughly 400 senior-level public officials comprising heads of government ministries, agencies and commissions, as well as representatives from international donor communities were in attendance. During the forum, UNDP underlined the importance of the integrity institutions to successfully introduce a strong public sector integrity regime and improve the effective use and management of public resources. The UNDP sees the message of the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Samuel Tuel, as a strong political will to establish stronger public financial management architecture to help conserve and improve the use of Liberia's sacred resources. In addition, UNDP pointed out the importance of judicious public resource management as a key component in achieving the sustainable development goals and lifting vulnerable and disadvantaged groups out of poverty. And the board chairman of the Renewed Apostolic Pentecostal School in Tottenham, Bowman County, has described as achievement the first graduation of the institution. Reverend Edwin Damo said that the institution capacity building remains paramount due to the many kids that are acquiring education at the institution. According to the religious cleric, the school is expected to construct the first 8 classroom building in 2019 as a way of helping to mold the minds of the younger generation. Reverend Edwin Damo, who is also senior pastor of the Renewed Apostolic Pentecostal Church in Bowman County, was speaking during the weekend when the institution graduated 19 students from elementary division. For her part, the valedictorian of the graduating class, Leto Ernestine Zangwe, challenged her fellow students to remain respectful while striving for quality education. Leto Ernestine Zangwe, who is 7 years of age, further called on her peers to spend time with her lessons and avoid the men and social activities. And that's the shift of the news bulletin.
Many thanks, Augustine Bill Kollie, for the news bulletin. Augustine comes back later on to bring you 4 developments. It's 60 minutes past 6 o'clock in Monrovia. You're just joining us listening to news net on OKFM 99.5. My name is Trokon Freeman, presenting our top stories this morning. To stabilize the country's unpressured economy, House Speaker Dr. Barbara Chambers calls for a single currency regime. Wants the legalization of the United States dollars as Liberia's liquor tender, while blasting former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for Liberia's net mayor. Former governing Unity Party accuses government of masterminding Associate Justice Janning's impeachment plot, as says the ruling establishment wants him removed because of his dissenting opinion in the election dispute case involving NEC and other few political parties. Mayor Jefferson Kochi brands Simeco as a total embarrassment to Liberia's waste and sanitation sector. Says it is unfortunate for the company to renege in addressing sanitation problems in its own backyard. And away from Liberia, the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has begun a visit to Eritrea days after the two countries agreed to end 2-decade-old border dispute. Let's now go into the actualities, beginning from Capitol Hill, where House Speaker Dr. Barbara Chambers is terming as the lasting solution, the legalization of the United States dollars as Liberia's liquor tender. Speaker Chambers' assertions come in the wake of a challenged economic sector that is experiencing an unprecedented rise in the Liberian to United States dollars exchange rate and hike in the prices of local commodities. At a news conference at the weekend in Monrovia, Speaker Chambers added that the legalization of the United States dollars as Liberia's currency could further control the economic situation.
During her era, the exchange rate was around 50 Liberian dollars, and it climbed before she left to 130 Liberian dollars. My view on the Liberian economy is that we have one currency, and I think we should revert to the US dollar as the legal tender of Liberia, where everybody will have the choice. So people will not be forced to go and buy hard currency to do what they want to do. So everybody can have that opportunity and access to the market equitably. So that's my view about it. But all I want to say is there is hope for a new Liberia. Honor His Excellency President George Weah. Liberia will be better. Liberia will be safe. Liberia will be stable. Liberia will be prosperous. All that you say, for me, even not a panacea, but a solution is for us to have one currency. And I would say that we revert to the US dollars at our legal tender. The US dollars, since the founding of Liberia until the 80s, and when it was structured in the 80s, it also was one-to-one. The 80s were one-to-one, and in the same 80s it started to climb. So if you cannot have a valve to control such a kind of decision, what do? Do you kind of create a cul-de-sac, put a blockade where it doesn't move?
Speaker Chambers also blasted former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for Liberia's nightmare. According to him, the former Liberian leader created an economic Goldilocks.
Our predecessor, I just don't like to talk about the past, but has created an economic gulag. This simply means that a system has been created so that many persons can suffer and many persons die. This is something that was consciously done. The Ellen regime has created a system that I will call a gulag. A gulag is a system where labor camps were created and maintained in the former Soviet Union under Joseph Stalin from about 1930 to 1935, where people that did not at the time conform with that regime were made to suffer and die. When you see a government coming and asking for almost all jobs, or living, asking for almost all jobs to be based on tenure, there's a problem. President Sirleaf wanted for the military hierarchy to be placed on a tenure. President Sirleaf wanted the police hierarchy, the director or inspector general and his deputies, to be based on tenure.
Speaking on other issues, the Liberian speaker for the revealed that former President Johnson Sirleaf did not declare her asset up to present.
Today, people are saying that under Ellen, many good things were done. I don't like to visit the past, but I will tell you this much. We talk about the issue regarding asset declaration. President Sirleaf did not, up to now, has not declared her asset. I stand to be corrected. If President Sirleaf had declared asset, let the people tell us what is this asset of President Sirleaf. She sugar-coated the issue to say that people in her government would have been prosecuted or relieved of the posts for non-compliance. That she sugar-coated. So I would say that we will bring checks and we will bring balances in what we do by advising this government to do what is best for the Liberian people.
House Speaker Dr. Buffer Chambers, he spoke at the weekend during the news conference in Monrovia. Monrovia City Mayor Jefferson Kollie has branded Semenko as a total embarrassment to the country's waste and sanitation sector. Speaking at the weekend during the rigorous cleanup exercise carried out by the Weah for Clean City Presidential Task Force, Mayor Kollie said it was unfortunate for a company like Semenko that is generating millions of dollars to renege in addressing sanitation problems in their vicinity and adjacent communities.
It becomes an embarrassment to tell me that you stay clean. It's much easier that you can phone people to regulate your sanitation activities here. If you got it, then you haven't done that, you get seats what happening. See the dream. I can Semenko be here. It's happening right for Semenko. That's Semenko here. The multi-million-dollar company. You've been here for ages. See what happening? So then with this, we give you, you have the capacity to deploy this. Yeah, by Monday we will be here. By Monday, all these trucks, we don't want these trucks anymore, none on the sidewalk. We don't want that. We are very clear, we are very strict on that. When your truck come here, when they're supposed to come and get your smell for here, they must come one at a time. And we don't leave them here the way I am. There must be some systems here. You don't, how do you see the whole place of this? This place must be facilitated. We should begin from now to Monday. Our inspectorate team will come. They will begin from here and will begin from in your facility.
Monrovia City Mayor Jefferson Kollie Brennan Simengo as a total embarrassment to Liberia's waste and sanitation sector. The officer in charge of education, training and information at the Independent National Commission on Human Rights has taken exception to the Ministry of Education's decision to deny students who failed WACs from graduating. Recently, Education Minister Ansu Sorin told a news conference that any student failing the exams will not be allowed to graduate from high school. Jalen White believes the Ministry of Education's action against the students of Liberia is partial, is not in the rightful direction.
For me, I would say to qualify whether the minister's statement was in the proper perspective or not is to first of all ascertain what was the reason of the failure. If the reason of the failure was not the student fault, then I think it is just a political bluff to make such a statement. But if the reason for the students' failure come from themselves, wherein they were taught the topics properly, they had the materials and things to study and everything, and yet they failed the exams, we say yes. So okay, granted, you said the students will have to repeat the class. So what becomes of the schools that fail to teach them the proper curriculum? What becomes of those teachers who are in the classroom and not teaching the proper lesson? What becomes of the Minister of Education that failed to monitor the schools for not doing the proper thing? What do you do about it? Is it only the students that you're going to see the problem with? So it must be a holistic approach and not a cherry-picking approach. If we only say that only the students who fail will not graduate and leave all the other situation that way, it will be cherry-picking, we'll be doing nothing to fix our educational mess. We need to do it holistically.
He's John White, the officer in charge of education, training and information to the Independent National Commission on Human Rights, taking exception to the Ministry of Education's decision to deny students who failed WACs from graduating. Assistant Justice Minister for Corrections and Rehabilitation Eddie Tarawale is seeking more correctional programs for prisoners around the country. Mr. Tarawale, who has been keen on reintegration of prisoners, paraded with 16 inmates from the Monrovia Central Prison to support the Monrovia City Corporation's WIA for Clean City. This is meant to provide community services on the part of the prisoners. Speaking to a group of journalists during the weekend, Tarawale stressed that there be programs including tailoring and carpentry for the transformation of inmates so that they can be useful in society following the completion of their jail sentence.
So we are pleading to the partners within the justice and security arena to ensure that we can make the three components of our criminal justice system to be supported at this point of equilibrium. We need support at the Monrovia Central Prison. We also need to reduce the issues of prison overcrowdedness. Today, the Monrovia Central Prison has a barrage and large scales of inmates. We have over 1,000 plus inmates at the Monrovia Central Prison. If you do analysis at the Monrovia Central Prison, you have the original capacity is 375. We also want to plead that there must be what we call a reduction of overcrowdedness of our prison and a relocation of the Monrovia Central Prison to a better facility to introduce a systems of prison industry.
Assistant Justice Minister for Corrections and Rehabilitation Eddie Tarawale is seeking more correctional programs for inmates across the country. Let's go back to Capitol Hill, where a member of the legislature has donated a huge consignment of medical equipment to 4 health facilities operating in his district. The medical supplies donated by Representative Hansen Kiazulu is estimated at $16,000 Making a presentation at the weekend, Representative Kazalu said the move comes out of humanitarian feelings for his people and giving the challenges in the health sector of Liberia.
It's really an opportunity that I can invite you all to share with you what others share with me too. You know, doing the political activities, and I visited one or two clinics. I gave my assurance when I rest for 6 months, we start to do one or two things around for our people. I may not be able to do all because you know this is a very large district and we are so many. I talked to some friends in America. I have not gone there since after elections. And one day, to my utmost surprise, a friend called me. He said, I just put some things on the ship. You can give it to your clinics in your district. Not a medical doctor. So when I went to receive no item, they were all in the boxes with some equipment. I quickly ran to the Banjao Health Center and I informed them. They brought those things and I asked them to sort it out. What is usable, because in America, sometimes what is not usable there, it is actually helpful on the side. So these are not brand new materials from on the shelves. They were from the hospital and they were donated to a third world country.
Hassan Kiazlu is Mosfara County District 16 lawmaker, District 17 lawmaker via speaking, receiving the items on behalf of the 4 clinics. The officer in charge of Bancho Clinic, Christian G. Play, has told the lawmaker for the donation, saying the intervention will help boost the operations to ensure healthcare delivery system.
Thank you, Representative, for this item, and we use them properly. Therefore, thank you that without having bare sheets and things there. So I'm too happy to receive the bare sheets and patient gowns. Like, these are the bare sheets. These are patient gowns. Some patients come to the clinic, they don't have anything after delivery and the representative thought they would have to pay for this item. So I'm too happy to receive the item that we use it on purpose. I want to thank the representative, thank you.
She's Madam Christiana Jipley there, installing Representative Hassan Kiazlu for providing some medical items to 4 clinics in district number 17, Mosso, Rado County. Still at the legislature, Moswara County District 2 Representative James Smith has renewed calls for the legislature to grant the Monrovia Vocational Training Center an autonomous status. The lawmaker complained of the entity being unilaterally run by the Ministry of Youth and Sports, thus lacking independence.
Both grants and government subsidies have been put into that institution to realize that it is not operating up to its capacity. And therefore, looking at it, in order to see that happen, it must be legislated to determine the status of MVDC. As I have researched, MVDC has no existing act that establishes it. Again, MVDC was established by the Minister of Youth and Sports, and MVDC operate at the will and pleasure of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, which I think that was a travesty to the interests of the institution. Therefore, I have filed an act to plenary requesting an act to detach the Monrovia Vocational Training Center from the Ministry of Youth and Sport to become an autonomous institute, giving it more authority, more leverage, more freedom to expand its own potential. Because, as I said earlier, there has been so much money pumped into MVDC, but it's operating under capacity and have not delivered the expectation up to the
Moswara County District 2 Representative James Smith via renewing calls for the legislature to grant the Monrovia Vocational Training Center an autonomous status. Let's now go on OKFM Liberia to read you some of your reactions to the stories posted last evening, beginning with Musa, but Mohammed A. Dukle Jr. I think the speaker has some points with regard to former President Salif generated economy. The mess she created for us are too many. Every Liberian needs to contribute in cleaning the mess that we inherited from Mrs. Salif and your associates. Her instruction to print new money is undermining the economy. I recommend that the government goes into the war room to tackle this U.S. rate. We have to summarize your comments so far because there are tons of comments here. George Xavier Nangwe. OKFM, why should I approve of government officials because became making comments like we are still campaigning? This current hardship in Liberia has nothing to do with Madam Salif. In fact, the comments of Speaker Chambers are malicious and ridiculous. We voted this government because you told us about positive change. President Weah is the current president, therefore, he must declare his access. As relates to other issues, I think in my mind the honorable grade is never serious. This government cannot impeach Justice Janin. He has done nothing for impeachment. Muhammad Manaba M. How KFM? Moses Akaras Gray, the lawmaker, and Speaker Chambers, that are highly disappointed in them. Our economic situation is highly unbecoming since the CDC-led government took over. And you, Honorable Moses Akaras Gray, has not yet come out to say any positive feedback, but rather think about impeaching the Chief Justice. I have to stop it right there. Bo Kwekwe Senior. Good morning, OK News. Let me use this opportunity to appreciate the Special Presidential Task Force for giving Monrovia and its surroundings the facelift, maintain cleanliness in the cities and create a healthy environment for all. I'm not surprised that Mayor Koji led a team of workers to ensure our city is clean. Thus, this young man has demonstrated a true sense of leadership and love for country. Bravo, Mayor Koji. Bravo, Liberia. We're bringing more comments. Morris S. Gibbo. Let's reintroduce JJ Bank notes that were introduced or printed by the late President Samuel Doe. This will help us control the counterfeit on the market. Michael B. Weller. Good morning, OKFM. I'm 110% in support of the call about the speaker making the US dollar our national currency. Will help relieve the stress placed on the economy by some unscrupulous elements from the past regime who are bent on infusing Liberian dollars on the market uncontrollably. For those of you not in the know, the USD was once used as our national currency in Liberia for 2 consecutive years and later joined by the Liberian dollars. The pro-poor agenda will definitely succeed. Let's continue with more stories on the program this morning. The executive director of the President Young Professional Program, HZC, has tasked members of the 2018 Class 8 to use their knowledge acquired and help improve the proper agenda of the government. This is stressed that fellows of the PYPP should also endeavor to demonstrate a deep sense of patriotism and responsibleness in their contribution to the state.
Well, I'm just so happy to continue to work
with the government of Liberia, especially the government led by His Excellency George Maniwia Doctor, for opening their arms to us and seeing us as a strategic development partner that we can mold young people who will drive the economy of the state, who will drive effective service delivery, who will promote professionalism and good governance within the government and make this government achieve its pro-poor agenda. We are committed to the implementation of the pro-poor agenda in the various ministries and agencies, and we are committed to working with this government. I would love it if we get $1 billion right now and give more opportunities to more young people, because one of our major challenge at the PYPP is funding.
Speaking earlier, the Secretary General of the Alumni Association of the President Young Professional Program, Toka Tapet, pointed out that the PYP fellows are like diamonds whose values are significant to the formage of any institution. He wants mentors and supervisors to always support PYP's fellows who are directly assigned in the various offices so as to get the best out of them. Let's take our last local development. We'll bring you a few comments and we'll bring you our foreign news. The board chairman of the renewed Apostolic Foundation School in Bome County has termed the institution's first graduation as an achievement of prayer and fasting. Reverend Edwin Damo said the expansion of the school's capacity is a paramount concern due to the many kids acquiring quality education at the academy.
Renewed Fellowship Center Foundation is not going to continue in this building. We are anticipating getting out there to start with our foundation of the first 8 classroom, and that will be in next year. The church is always in prayer with this school and the school administration. The performances that I saw here, it kind of like beat my imagination. I couldn't believe what I saw. I've never believed that this will happen, because those of you who saw the foundation of this school, it started with a challenge. I said it wasn't easy to start the school. We were like being challenged, hey, they can't make it in 5, we are not capable of opening the school, but we gave it to the Lord and began to pray about it. Our first mark was made at the level of the education board of this county, the Ministry of Education, and they granted our permit so that we can operate in this place.
The board chair of the renewed Apostolic Foundation School in Bome County, Reverend Edwin Damo, termed the institution's first graduation as an achievement of prayer and fasting. Let's now read the last batch of comments on the program this morning. Josephus Blake, I'd agree with the speaker to introduce single currency regime, but the issue be Liberian dollar, not the United States dollars. Ekins Charles Sopan, good morning. OKFM, let me agree with Speaker Chambers that Liberia should use one currency, which is the old Liberian dollars, if only the government will allow Liberia to pay taxes in our own money, not the US dollars, for example, passport and driver licenses. Dennis Zoo, 10 years tax break should be granted to local manufacturing and mechanized farming investments. This will reduce outflow, thereby increasing employment opportunities and supplies. Elijah Weir, United Party, calling for TRC report at the same time wanting a convicted man to public service as a judge. Joe Wanga, good morning. OKFM, I think Semenko needs to be shut down. OKFM, I agree with the speaker to introduce single currency. And lastly, Razak Khannan, OKFM, good morning. I read from Jamaica Road, let me inform the the mayor that the issue of sanitation on Chiminka Road is not only Semengo, but Sekti Brothers, Cow Factory, Duraplast, and some foreign companies that have no handmark in communities are all involved. OKFM, thank God that you brought this topic, so I'm using it to inform the public of a mass peaceful protest against these companies for creating waste and pollution in our poor community. At this point, let's now rejoin Augustine Bill Kollie to bring you the foreign news.
Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has begun a visit to Eritrea days after the two countries agreed to end a 2-decade-old border dispute. He was welcomed in the Eritrean capital Ashama by President Isaias Afewerki. The trip follows a visit to Addis Ababa by an Eritrean delegation. Mr. Abiy, who took office in April, has accepted a ruling award the disputed territory to Eritrea. Militants have launched their first major attack in the Somali capital Mogadishu since the start of Ramadan almost 2 months ago. Journalists say Al-Shabaab factors stormed the Ministry of the Interior and National Security after detonating 2 car bombs. The BBC's Somali service says there have been 10 deaths and at least 20 civilians are reported injured. Security had been tightened in the city over Ramadan to prevent attacks. And the operation to free 12 boys and their coach from a cave in northern Thailand is running smoothly, the head of the operation says. 4 boys have been brought above ground, rescuers say. The mission has now been paused for at least 10 hours as their oxygen tanks need to be replaced. Rescuers decided to go ahead with the hazardous operation on Sunday because of fears of rising waters. The foreign news.
With those foreign developments by Augustine Bill Kollie, we conclude today's presentation of news on OKFM 99.5. Many thanks for listening and watching as well. But before we go, here are the top stories we followed in today's presentation of the program. To stabilize the country's unpressured economy, House Speaker Dr. Chambers calls for single currency regime, wants the legalization of the United States dollars as Liberia's legal tender, while blasting former President Ellen Johnson's leave for Liberia's net mayor. Former Governor United Party accuses government of masterminding Associate Justice Janen's impeachment plot, says the ruling establishments wants to see him removed because of his dissenting opinion in the elections dispute case involving NEC and few political parties. Mayor Jefferson Kochi brands Semenko a total embarrassment to Liberia's waste and sanitation sector, says it is unfortunate for the company to renege in addressing sanitation problems in its own backyard. And away from Liberia, the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has begun the visit to Eritrea days after the two countries agree to end a 2-decade-old border disputes. Augustine Bill Kollie was here with the news bulletin and foreign developments. Eddie Pony inside the controls and handled all of the technical aspects of this presentation. Many thanks to Francis Nyenswa, our chief shepherd, who made us to be here in time. My name is Trokon Freeman. I presented a pleasant good morning.